At first glance, Demon's Mirror seemed like the kind of game that's meant more for mobile than it is for consoles/PC. I realize how bad that makes it seem, but as much as I like to bring up that you shouldn't judge a book, or in this case a game, by its cover, sometimes it's hard not to do so. It doesn't help that at this point in time we're so overwhelmed by games that it's easy for someone to pass on one for trivial things. That still happened back in the day, but even if a game wasn't fully to your liking, you'd still try to make the most of it. What I'm getting at is, even though Demon's Mirror artwork isn't bad, it could be better. Some of it stands out for negative reasons, and I can see some being turned away due to it giving off a cheap appearance. I want to say that this doesn't really bother me, seeing as how I've played and enjoyed games that made use of literal stick figures, but it ultimately depends on the person, their interests, and whether or not said game offers enough in other areas. Thankfully, Demon's Mirror is one of those games that offers a lot more than what's seen with its artwork. It's to the point where it initially feels a bit overwhelming due to more or less featuring multiple game types in one. It did take a bit of time in order to get the hang of it, but the more I played, the more I realized that a lot of options make different playstyles viable. Initially, I struggled and wasn't really sure what I was doing. After a few hours, I started to see just how much there was to Demon's Mirror beneath the surface level. I'm sure that you could look into any and all aspects of DM like this, but what stood out to me were the deep mechanics of the sideboard. I liked how it was a game within a game. An example of the usefulness of this part of the game was how connecting enemy attack tiles with your own reduced their HP, the result of this being their damage output being decreased. I like this a lot because, as I've been saying, DM is the kind of game that offers a lot of depth. This makes it so that you can more or less mold the game into what you want it to be. At the same time, your playstyle and decisions affect the outcome of each level you'd play through. That's the case with most games, but a lot of the ones I've played make it so that you can really only advance by sticking to XYZ tactics/moves. I like the freedom that comes as a result of a game being open-ended as DM is. Seeing as how I'm better off quickly playing through games, mainly for the purpose of this YouTube channel, sometimes I feel inclined to stick to shorter games. While that may be true, sometimes I don't mind if a game is long if it offers a fun and overall fulfilling experience. By this point in time, it should be clear that I'm the kind of player that gets a lot out of playing strategy games, and simply being able to think strategically. I didn't mind that some battles in DM lasted long because there was plenty to keep me busy. It wasn't just busy work. The level of strategy that was necessary in order to advance added depth to the gameplay and made it out to be more than initially appeared to be. While that's true, I feel that DM was missing a simple option that could have made it even more of a smoother experience than it was. I'm referring to being unable to end the turn early. I didn't like that this wasn't an option because it felt restrictive. I felt like I was being forced to squeeze absolutely every last bit of juice from a fruit when I didn't feel that was necessary. It's possible this was done in order to force you to make the most of every move, kind of as a way to motivate you, but I prefer making mistakes and learning from them on my own terms. If being able to end the turn early made me realize that I made a mistake or overlooked something, I'd be more likely to prevent that during subsequent turns. The point being that I want to be more in control of my successes and failures. I didn't beat DM, so this is a first impressions video. Despite having played for around 5 hours or so, it's clear that DM has a lot of replay value. It's not only because of it being a roguelike. It also has to do with the game being much longer than I expected, and the overall depth it has to offer makes it so that you're encouraged to take your time and really make the most of each turn. I didn't beat it, but it's one of those games that left me wanting to come back for more. I could be wrong, but I could see my first full playthrough of Demon's Mirror being at least 50 hours. That may sound a bit much for some, but seeing as how I like to get my money's worth, I don't mind that as long as a game can consistently keep me entertained. I don't think of Demon's Mirror as a game that will be enjoyed by the general audience. It's really meant for fans of strategy games and people in general that enjoy taking their time with a game. My first impressions of it being that it comes off as a game that's really meant for mobile could turn some away, but if any of what I mentioned stands out to you, give Demon's Mirror a try. Does it bother you when a game gives off the impression that it's meant for mobile gaming? How do you feel about games that encourage you to take your time with them? Does a game's artwork really matter to you? If you enjoyed this content, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you very much for watching.